Dr. O.C. Ferrell is the Bill Daniels Professor of Business Ethics for the Anderson School of Management at the University of New Mexico. A former member of the Board of Governors for the Academy, he currently serves as Vice President of Publications and as a Distinguished Fellow.
We're going to start out with an easy question for you to get the ball rolling. What spurred your interest in marketing as a career option?
That's a very good question, because it seems like all of us take different paths to be where we are today. And mine started at Florida State University as a sociology major. And I couldn't decide what I wanted to do, so I was interested in societal issues, especially collective behavior, why people work together, why there are conflicts, crowds, mobs. We studied those types of things in collective behavior. But then I was fortunate enough as an undergraduate to take 2 research methodology courses, social research methods. And we did survey research, and I looked at this area and said, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. Well, if I'm going to get into marketing research, I spent the summer between my junior and senior years working for a marketing research agency in Miami. It's kind of an intern. They paid me a little bit. And then I asked them what I should do to get into marketing research. They said, go back to Florida State, finish your sociology degree, and then go on for an MBA degree in a marketing concentration. And I did exactly what they told me to do. And when I finished my MBA, they hired me, and I worked for them a brief time. And this has opened my eyes to the field of marketing, and I never looked back.
You've commented on marketing and how you got into marketing. It seems like at the undergraduate and perhaps even the master's level. What about continuing on studying marketing at the doctoral level when you went to Louisiana State University to pursue your PhD?
Well, I didn't go directly. I did work a brief time with a marketing research agency. Then I saw an opportunity for teaching. And I taught for a couple of years at Southeastern Louisiana University. And I started talking with some professors at LSU. And they suggested that maybe I should, if I was really interested in the field of marketing and being an educator, to go in for a PhD. But I will tell you, at that time, I was kind of going along with them. I thought I was going to be forming my own marketing research agency, and that I would get a PhD in marketing, which LSU offered at the time. It was not business administration. And this is what I would do. As a matter of fact, the 2 years that I spent as an instructor at Southeastern Louisiana, I opened a small marketing research agency and continued doing research projects for companies, including political candidates. We did survey research for congressional races and one senatorial race.
Great answer. Very interesting. What do you feel most proud of in your career and the things that you've done over the years?
Well, like many people in my position, I have to start with the PhD students that I've worked with over the years. I chaired PhD dissertations at Texas A&M University and the University of Memphis. And many of my PhD students, their success has been way beyond what I could have ever imagined when I started working with them. And I'd look at 2 from Texas A&M, John Frederick, who now holds a professorship at Southern Illinois, and Peggy Cunningham, who is a dean at Dalhousie University in Canada. We can look at Thomas Holt, who is now editor of the Journal of Academy of Marketing Science, Isabel Mignon, who is director of research for the Dutch SEC and a distinguished compliance professor, Debbie Thorne, who is an associate provost at Texas State University, and Michael Hartline, who is chair of the marketing department at Florida State University. There are many others that I'm also very proud of. I'm also very engaged in trying to do as much as I can to inform people about the importance of marketing ethics and business ethics and conducting research in this area. And I view that the progress I've made in that area has been an important accomplishment.
Well, we are certainly proud of your accomplishments and happy to have you in marketing and happy, of course, to have you here with us today. What were some of the things that, the factors that contributed to your success and your ability to achieve these things?
Well, I will have to go back to something I mentioned before, is my experiences at Florida State University. And as an MBA student, one of the first women to get a PhD in marketing, Persis Emmett Rockwood, became my mentor. And she's the one who really encouraged me to go into teaching. She walked into a classroom and said, I have this job announcement. Would anyone, when you get your MBA, would you be interested in getting involved as an instructor? But also she did much more than that. I think I was certainly the first woman to get a PhD in marketing from Stanford, but I think maybe one of the first women in the U.S. to ever get a PhD in marketing. And she was quite an inspiration at that stage. As I moved on to LSU, I owe a great deal to the chair, my dissertation chair, Lee Richardson. And I have to say that Lee Richardson guided me with my interest in sociology and social issues into the ethics area. His interest was consumerism, and he went on to be the first director of the Office of Consumer Affairs at the national level. But he worked with me day and night. He often would ask me to come to his house at 11 p.m. To talk about my dissertation because he was so busy. I remember walking in one night and his wife was standing at the door and she said, "You haven't talked to your children in 5 days." And, you know, and what have you got this guy doing here in our house? But he was incredible, and he was very young at the time, but he was kind of my role model of working hard and getting the job done. And my dissertation was in this area. It was so meaningful, and owe a lot both to Florida State and to LSU in terms of getting me, you know, set in the right direction. I've moved around to many different universities, but I was given a great deal of freedom when I was at Southern Illinois University and Illinois State to get started in my publishing. They were very supportive, and I was able to publish in some top journals because of research funding and colleagues that were supportive. And I have to give Texas A&M a lot of credit, because when I arrived there and I wanted to become a full professor, they'd made me publish in the top journals, no matter what I wanted to do. So, and I stuck to my area in marketing ethics and business ethics, and it worked out great.
So what role did the Academy of Marketing Science play in the development of your career?
Well, the Academy of Marketing Science has been supporting my academic development for 40 years. Of course, that was before I'd finished my PhD, but the Academy of Marketing Science provided, first of all, a journal that I started publishing in. And the first contact was publishing articles in JAMS. And in the mid-1970s, I was able to carry on a debate with Rich Boghosi over exchange theory, and it was so great that this journal provided both of us an opportunity to write rejoinders at that particular time, and it really helped launch my career. Then I started, over the years, attending meetings and recognizing the networking opportunities, but also how close the people were, how open everyone was at the Academy of Marketing Science. And I went through a period of time where I was involved in leadership with the American Marketing Association, and eventually became president of the Academic Council. Immediately after finishing my term there, I started going to every Academy of Marketing Science meeting, and then was asked to get involved in activities such as becoming program chair. I was elected to the Board of Governors, and then I became 100% committed that this was my professional academic association, that I wanted to make a contribution. And currently I'm Vice President of Publications for the Academy of Marketing Science, and I just owe so much to everyone involved with this incredible organization that, as far as I'm concerned, is doing the best job at providing academic leadership for marketing scholars.
Thinking about your field of interest and your research contributions, which I think anyone would not dispute have been mostly in the area of ethics, but certainly some other areas. What do you think are some areas that today and in the future, the near future anyway, need to be researched and studied more in that field?
Well, of course, most of my research has been in the area of social responsibility and business ethics, applying business ethics concepts to marketing constructs, and therefore I'd like to comment on what I see needs to be done in this area. Most research in business ethics and marketing ethics focuses on the individual, often looking at individual moral philosophies and how these various perspectives affect individual decision making. And most of my research and the models that I've developed to explain ethical decision making really focus on significant others, groups, and teams, and how they jointly make decisions. And of course, not only decisions related to ethics, but all business decisions are often made in committees and teams and groups, and there's always a leader that will influence others. And a lot of our research doesn't reflect that. It assumes that every person's a silo in an island and they make independent decisions. But there's tons of social research to show that's not how it works. That most people are not willing to stand up against others, and the majority of people go along with what their superiors, what others suggest are the appropriate thing to do. So I'd like to really see more research dealing with ethical decision making in that area. Another stream of research is in stakeholder analysis, and I've worked with Isabel Mignon on a number of frameworks looking at the role of stakeholders in social responsibility. And as we got started in this area, we did a study dealing with stakeholder orientation compared to market orientation. And I think one of the frontiers today, moving over into the marketing strategy area, is a big question. Is it better to be market-oriented or to be stakeholder-oriented in terms of the philosophy of looking at success from a strategic standpoint? And we don't have much research in that area. And it's just wide open, and it would be a great opportunity for dissertations, it would be a great opportunity for additional research. But my preliminary research, as well as I know a few others who have worked in the area, is that we may be challenging our long-standing basic philosophy of market orientation. Market orientation focuses mainly on the customer and competition. A stakeholder orientation focuses on all of the stakeholders without giving anyone a priority. And I think we'll find in some businesses that they are successful because they recognize societal priorities, and consumers look at those priorities and go along with, hey, this is what the kind of company we want to identify with. A good example of that is sustainability is emerging, that we find at least half consumers are wanting to do business with companies that are sustainability oriented. So I think the area of stakeholder orientation and the area of ethical decision making and marketing are wide open.
You've clearly been successful in the broad field of marketing, and particularly in the ethics area. I'm certain that you have some things that might be useful, some insights that could be very helpful to young faculty in their pursuit of an equally successful career.
Well, the thing that has worked for me is to be programmatic in my research and be focused. And I started from my PhD program to my dissertation to now my complete career on marketing ethics as being my main research area. So what's happened is, first, it was easy at the time because there was almost no literature in the area. It was very easy to develop a great deal of knowledge about what had been done, the research that was available. And now, throughout my career, I've been able to track this area, publish in this area, and become a leading expert on the topic. And if you have a passion, first of all, if you don't have a passion for an area, it won't work. But if you're really interested in something and you think that area can contribute to strategy, to public policy, to consumer welfare, whatever the area you're interested in, you take that area. Once you get down the literature and once you learn what's being done in the area in terms of research, you'll probably get to know the key researchers in the area. They'll become your friends, and you'll be on the inside track. So many people are successful not taking this approach, but for me, it worked great. The other thing is hard work, and I know that we'll probably hear that on a lot of these videos about hard work, but when I first got started, I worked almost to 2 or 3 o'clock every morning on my articles. I did do something that was not recommended. I got involved in writing my textbook, my principles of marketing textbook, when I was an assistant professor, and I had to work long hours to make this happen. And I didn't get to play golf as much or relax as much as I wanted to, but it all paid off in the long run, and hopefully I'm doing more of that now.
You've shared with us some very interesting insights, and I think some practical and useful insights for young scholars. Could you summarize for us, and I know this is very difficult, could you summarize for us what you feel most proud of and that represents your major contribution or contributions to the discipline?
Well, I think I can do that because one of my major contributions, one of the things I'm most proud of, was an article. This was published in the Journal of Marketing with Larry Gresham, a contingency approach to ethical decision making in marketing. And at that time, that was 25 years ago, at the time the article was written, it was a conceptual article on the grounded research that existed at the time about how ethical decisions are made in any organization, especially marketing organizations. But that really has driven a lot of research that I've done since then, and the research of many others. And this article has a great deal of citations, and it has been very meaningful in my career. And I would encourage anyone to has a passion for a particular area to try to do at least one article that puts it all together and attempts to provide understanding and even a framework for their future. I also am very proud of my accomplishments in communicating with students through my textbooks. And I'm very proud of the Ferrell marketing Principles of Marketing textbook, but I'm also very proud of my business ethics textbook, Frederick Ferrell, in the 8th edition, and this is the most widely used business ethics textbook globally. It has about 1/3 of the market today in business ethics courses. And I'm also proud to say that this textbook, when it was written in 1990, took a different approach. There was no other book like it. I was very lucky to have a publisher who would go along with that. And I took an organizational approach. It's a managerial business ethics textbook, but it's really based on all the research that we had done in the area, looking at the fact that business ethics is much more of an organizational issue than just an individual issue, and the fact that organizations are responsible for the ethical conduct of their employees, and the assumption is that building an ethical culture in an organization is the most important thing to do. I'm very proud of these books. And Joe, I know you understand the rewards that come from impacting students first. The many students that contact you or walk up to you and say they got started in marketing by your textbooks. But I really can appreciate how meaningful it is for professors to say that you've given them new insights and ways of teaching that really advances the academic disciplines that we're in.
Thank you, OC, not only for your thoughtful comments about me, but for some very, very good and thought-provoking and insightful comments about yourself and your success. It's really been a pleasure interviewing you today, and I look forward to many more years with you where we will undertake joint projects and help to contribute to the discipline.
And it's been incredible to go down the stream with you over this long career, and to have a colleague like you that's been so supportive.